This guy, Dave Asprey, who I think is a goddamn joke, okay? Flat out. I think he's a joke. I think he's always been a joke, okay? Now, he is famous for basically putting butter in coffee. Allegedly, he got the idea when he was in Tibet and he tasted yak butter tea. What I think is important to understand is Tibet, they don't really have the best of health. In fact, their health improved after communist China started introducing fresh fruits and vegetables into their diet. Okay, so what I want to point out is Dave Asprey's concepts essentially promote what I would consider and what most people would probably consider the absolute worst aspects of the American diet, aside for the fact that it removes junk food. But it encourages the overconsumption of foods that are not very good for you, such as butter and high saturated fat foods. Now, the protein, I'm not against protein consumption. Okay, like I said, I'm a vegan for ethical purposes. I do think that plant protein far exceeds animal protein, as is proven by the China study, in its ability to preserve health versus harm health. But I think a lot of the problems with animal protein is not necessarily the protein, but the other factors involved, such as the hormones and the adrenaline even, and the other factors, the new 5GC that's in it. These things, they're not good for the human organism, of course. So, Asprey is a biohacker. Now, what I want to point out here, I try not to consider myself a biohacker, but I am a biohacker. I'm just not insane. And that's my problem with considering myself a biohacker, is the fact that a lot of biohackers are crazy. Okay, they do crazy shit. So he's the creator of Bulletproof Coffee and the Bulletproof Diet. Okay? So why am I making this video? I might want to get into that. I forgot to get into that. A friend of mine that's older, okay, he's an older gentleman. He's in his 80s. He's been doing quite well on a traditional healthy lifestyle, I'll just say. And not even 100% healthy lifestyle, but like 90% healthy and then 10% garbage. Okay, and he's been doing well his whole life. He's in his 80s, okay, and he's healthy, okay. So the problem I have with this is he has bought Asprey's book, Superhuman. Now, I'll probably end up having to read the book. Not everything Asprey promotes do I disagree with. Some of the supplements he recommends taking, such as, I don't know, vitamin C and magnesium and things like this, I think that's a safe bet that that's probably good for most people. As I say that, I want to remind people that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a healthcare provider. But what I want to point out is a lot of this is just gimmicky as fuck. Bulletproof Coffee is gimmicky as fuck. Okay? His career. Asprey attended did a University of California Southern computer science after graduation. Now, this is what I want to point out. This gentleman that's 84, my friend that's 84, he pointed out that a lot of, like Asprey likes to point out, millionaires and billionaires are doing this, okay? So, the guy that's in his 80s, he goes, well, a lot of really smart people are embracing this. If Silicon Valley has showed us one thing, it's that occasionally, or even quite regularly, very smart people embrace and do very, very, very stupid things. Okay? What I like to use for that, look at multiculturalism. Look at what multiculturalism, this forced integration. Look what this has done to our republic. A lot of people that did that were intellectuals. They were from the intellectual class. Okay? But my point is, and the other thing that irks me about this guy, he has respected scientific people on his program, such as Dr. Terry Walls. Now, some of them, like Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Daniel Amen's become gimmicky as fuck too. Okay, he's become gimmicky as fuck with his wife, Tana Amen. And one of my biggest problems is this promotion of this consumption of basically, essentially, bad for you fats. Okay? So let's see. Okay, the bulletproof diet. The bulletproof diet, developed and marketed by Asprey, recommends eating foods high in fat, moderate in protein, and low in carbohydrates. Oh wow, a ketogenic diet. Nobody's ever thought about that before besides Johns Hopkins University. So that's what it is. The foundation is bulletproof. The foundation of your diet, look at this. The foundation of the diet is bulletproof coffee, made with grass-fed unsalted butter and either coconut oil or medium-chain triglycerides. Asprey sells both mixed MCT and pure caprylic acid is in coconut oil, and pure caprylic acid MCT oils. Asprey developed his bulletproof coffee recipe after traveling to Tibet and tasting yak butter tea. He returned to the United States and experimented with buttered drink recipes and published the preparation for his buttered coffee drink on his blog. The Bulletproof Diet also recommends incorporating intermittent fasting. Okay, and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into intermittent fasting and versus just plain old caloric restriction in a later video, because I don't think intermittent fasting is that special. Okay, I really don't. I think that basically caloric restriction is Roy Walford promoted. This common sense, well, I'll get into that in a bit. Asprey has claimed that when used in combination with other health hacks, listen to this. Asprey has claimed, now I want to see proof, when used in combination with other health hacks, the coffee boosted his IQ score by not 1, not 2, not 10, but 20 points. His company claims that bulletproof coffee can aid cognition and trigger weight loss through ketosis. Now, the ketosis thing may be true if you're really restricting your carbohydrates and protein, but what I want to point out here, his IQ allegedly jumped 20 points. So he probably went from allegedly being average IQ'd or high average to genius by drinking fucking coffee with butter in it. But yet somehow I'm assuming that for the most part, a good number of the motherfuckers that follow this asshole, they probably don't have that same effect of going from normal to genius level IQ in I don't know, a week or so after drinking the shit. I mean, it's just retarded. Asprey warns coffee drinkers to avoid mold toxins such as blah 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 in coffee, which he claims steals your mental edge and actually makes you weak. He sells a brand of upgraded beans. If this doesn't reek of snake oil, what the fuck does? Physician David Bach says that coffee producers already are good at removing mycotoxins from their product are already good at removing mycotoxins from their product. Reception. Critics have described the bulletproof diet as simplistic, invalid, and unscientific. No shit. No shit. It's simplistic, invalid, and unscientific. Asprey has no medical degree or nutritional training. No shit. Vox contributor Julia, now I leave a link to this, Julia Bellouz criticized the bulletproof diet, referring to it as a creature of a bad fad diet book. This is worse than a fad diet. This is insane. This is outright goddamn insane what this guy is promoting. And the alleged benefits are even more ridiculous. You think your IQ is going to jump 20 points by drinking coffee with butter in it? If you believe that, you probably have a severely you probably aren't really that bright. But as I said, a lot of really smart people believe really stupid things. For example, who remembers in Silicon Valley when they were drinking raw water, which is basically just water from like streams and shit? I'll find a link to that in a second. Personal life. Asprey has said that he expects to live to age 180. And this is also what gets me with this, with people like this motherfucker. Okay? I'm a transhumanist. I'm an immortalist. Okay? I believe in the application of science to extend human lifespan, ideally indefinitely. But people like this are what make people that are legitimate go, wow, this is some fucking silly bullshit. Okay? He has his own stem cells injected into him, taking 100 supplements. Like I said, his supplement program I don't necessarily disagree with. Okay? Now, I'm going to move on and show some other things here. So my friend that's in his 80s that's all about this Dave Asprey guy, what I want to point out now, as far as I know, Dave Asprey does not encourage drinking raw water. As far as I know. Doesn't mean he doesn't. It just means as far as I know, although it sounds gimmicky as fuck, so it might be something that he might be encouraging soon. What to know about the raw water trend? A new Silicon Valley craze could make people sick. No shit. Okay, untreated, unfiltered raw water is apparently the hot new fad around Silicon Valley, or so says a recent New York Times trend piece. People are eschewing tap and bottled water in favor of an icy cold glass of untreated spring water, so-called raw or unprocessed water, which proponents say has beneficial minerals that are removed from treated or filtered water and doesn't include chemicals in tap water such as fluoride or moved through infrastructure such as lead pipes. Some are paying a lot more for the luxury of drinking water that might not have fluoride, but could still have chemicals from pesticides and dangerous bacteria and also animal shit in it. Okay? Now, this is what, when people talk about the beauty of spring water, or diss me for drinking distilled water when I get distilled water, or even just tap water. I drink fucking tap water, for God's sake. The raw water trend, such as it is, fits into a larger movement that first embraces everything natural. This is what's known as naturalistic fallacy, and I have dealt with that at length in other videos, as healthy. And second, creates savvy entrepreneurs who find ways to make a lot of money. Savvy entrepreneurs who tend to make a lot of money from it. Kind of like selling fucking butter to put in your coffee and claim it can raise your IQ 20 goddamn points. True believers in raw water probably won't be convinced. One of the companies mentioned in the Times piece said there's already been a surge of demand, but at the risk of shouting into the void, we'll say it again, drinking untreated spring water is very, very bad. It's a very, very bad idea. What is raw water? The raw water movement has been around for several years. It had its roots in the raw food movement. You've heard me shout down the raw food movement ad nauseum. Ad nauseum on this channel, I've shouted down the raw food movement. Raw foodism is bullshit. But it's been getting attention lately after companies started bottling and selling untreated spring water. In September, Doug Evans, the founder of Juicero, the startup that made that smart juicer the internet loved to mock, announced a 5-day water fast in which he would only drink raw water. Raw water proponents say it contains healthy and natural minerals. Here's a fucking hint. If you want minerals in your goddamn water, now, I want to remind you, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutrition expert, I'm nothing like that. I put fucking magnesium citrate and calcium citrate in my fucking water. Okay? That's where the minerals are coming from in my water. When you have shit like this in your water, you don't really know what minerals are in your water. Not to mention they're in there in trace amounts, but some things in trace amounts are not good. Okay? Now, startups are capitalizing on the trend and selling raw water, live water bottles It's water from a spring in Oregon, and the Times notes a few other startups, including Tourmaline Spring, based in Maine, and other zero-mass water, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. The shit's probably not good for you. Get it? Now back to the Dave Asprey horse shit about the coconut oil. Okay, background. Coconut oil is high in saturated fat and may therefore raise serum cholesterol concentrations, but beneficial effects on other cardiovascular risk factors have also been suggested. Therefore, we conducted a systemic review of the effect of coconut oil consumption. This is from the American Heart Association. Okay. We've searched PubMed, Scopus, Cochrane, Registry, blah, 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 results. 16 articles were included, and the meta-analysis researches, 4 trials on fasting plasma conclusions. Coconut oil consumption results in significantly higher LDL cholesterol than non-tropical vegetable oils. This should inform choices about coconut oil consumption. Coconut oil consumption results in significantly higher LDL cholesterol than non-tropical vegetable oils. Coconut oil consumption results in significantly higher LDL cholesterol than non-tropical vegetable oils. Okay? Not to mention the goddamn butter. Okay? So, yeah, bulletproof coffee is going to result, most likely, in significantly higher LDL cholesterol.